Good morning, everyone. For those who are joining us live stream, I'm Robert Moore, the Chairman of the Arkansas Highway Commission. I want to welcome all of you who are here in the hearing room with us today to our first meeting in 2022. I also want to welcome those who are joining us via live stream. We're happy and excited to be here on another year. We've had, as always, had some good things and some bad things. We want to build on the good things and learn from the bad things, and as we always do. And we're looking forward to a great year ahead, and we're going to hear more about that from the director in a little while. Let me remind everybody, please, since we are being recorded and being picked up live stream, turn your mic on and off when you speak. Speak closely to it so everybody can hear what we're talking about. First thing I'd like to do is entertain a motion, as we normally do, to use electronic signatures on our minute orders. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries. The next order item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our last meeting on December the 7th, 2021. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes. Any comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
We have a motion. Second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consideration of our minute orders, and we will, without objection, we'll proceed as we have in the past, and that is Dave will read the minute order. If you have a comment or question, please let me know and you'll be recognized. Otherwise, he will read the minute order, and if there are no comments, we'll consider it approved and move on to the next one. Okay, Dave, let's hear the minute orders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Minute Order 1 simply approves the Purchasing Committee awards. Minute Order 2, found on page 24. This minute order gives authorization to pay the annual membership fee for AASHTO, the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials. Minute Order 3, this minute order gives approval for the processing of payment for the annual Arkansas Good Roads Foundation contribution.
Mr. Chairman, I just had one question with Lori, and I ask this every year when we allocate this money to AASHTO, but that's not just a membership fee. We get a lot of services back from AASHTO throughout the year, services and maybe software that we utilize and different things. Is that correct?
That's correct. AASHTO is really all of the state DOTs across the nation. It's a unified voice in Washington. They keep us informed of everything going on. They provide a lot of technical services. They're just a huge asset for running the department.
And they do training sessions and things for our people from time to time on
Yes.
different things.
We have conferences and technical sessions, and I'll just tell you that the funding we use for this service is statewide planning and research money. It cannot be used for highway purposes. It has to be used for planning purposes.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, moving on to Minute Order 4. This gives authorization to establish a satellite office in Northwest Arkansas. Minute Order 5, found on page 46. Adoption of the updated Arkansas Marine Use of Motor Fuel Study. It also gives authorization to enter into an agreement with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission that updates the revenue transfer formula. Minute Order 6, this has to do with Act 871, authorization to set into motion the amended permit rules for the movement of oversized vehicles on the Arkansas State Highway System. This act changes the maximum height from 13 feet 6 inches to 14 feet. Minute Order 7, found on page 64. Authorization to solicit applications from local sponsors for the Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, and the Recreational Trails Program, RTP, through federal fiscal year 2026. Minute Order 8. This has to do with employing an on-call consultant engineering firms and land surveying firms to provide needs for the federal fiscal years 2023 through 2026. Minute Order 9. Authorization to request proposals to keep the services of a qualified consultant to implement an equipment management system. Minute Order 10, found on page 72. Under the area of statewide improvement projects, this minute order gives approval to enter into agreements for planning, programming, and the construction of eligible projects with local project sponsors as designated in the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Moving to Chico County, Minute Order 11, changing portions of property at the Chico County Area Maintenance Headquarters from a capital asset to right-of-way. Minute Order 12, found on page 78 in Crawford County. This minute order gives authorization to transfer ownership of the Little Frog Bayou Bridge, also known as the Canner Bridge, on Highway 64. The city of Alma will take over the bridge. Minute Order 13. This has to do with transferring 4 bridges to Independence County at the request of the county judge. The 4 bridges are the English Creek Bridge, the Fauchy River Ridge, East Cache River Bridge, the West Fork Cache River Bridge. Minute Order 14 takes us to Union County. We will be transferring property known as the Old Union County Area Maintenance Headquarters to Union County. Minute Order 15, found on page 96. Boone County will be declaring certain property along Highway 65 as surplus property. Minute Order 16 in Washington County. This minute order calls for the authorization to partner with the City of Prairie Grove to overlay Highway 62B and improve drainage between Pittman Street and Baggett Street. Minute Order 17, found on page 106. This minute order involves Pulaski County in a partnership with such for the purpose of adding a center turn lane on Highway 365 near the Interstate 40 interchange in the Morgan area. Minute Order 18. This takes us to Benton County, District 9, authorization to partner with the City of Centerton to make modifications to the design of Highway 102 between Highway 279 South and Highway 102B. They're requesting the modifications so they can build a shared use path for bikes and pedestrians. Minute Order 19, coming out of Carroll County. This gives approval to partner with the City of Eureka Springs to construct a roundabout at the intersection of Highway 23, Highway 62, and Jordan Drive. Minute Order 20, found on page 116 in Garland County. This minute order calls for the Hot Springs Bypass to be added to the state highway system and removing Highway 7, Section 9 spur from Highway 70B to Highway 7 to remove that from the state highway system. This is, of course, due to the completion of the Hot Springs bypass, which is getting very near. Minute Order 21. This minute order gives authorization to enter into an agreement with the Oklahoma Department of Transportation to participate in a preliminary engineering study of U.S. Highway 412 from Interstate 35 in Oklahoma to I-49 in Arkansas. Minute Order 22, found on page 127. This minute order takes us to Mississippi County, where the request is to rename a portion of Highway 120 between U.S. Highway 61 and the Mississippi River to be known as the Jimmy Hart Memorial Highway. Minute Order 23, we stay in Mississippi County. This minute order calls for the renaming of a portion of Highway 18 between Division Street and Holland Street in the city of Blytheville. It shall now be known as the Martin Luther King Jr. Bypass. Minute Order 24 in Benton County. This minute order calls for the reserving of naming rights for the Bella Vista Bypass to be determined at a later date. And finally, Minute Order 25 calls for opening bids for the February 16th letting. Mr. Chairman, that is it.
Thank you, Dave, and thank you, fellow commissioners, for doing your homework and reading through all these minute orders. Have a lot of important stuff that we approved today. Before we move on to getting our financial report, I do want to call attention briefly to minute order number 5, which was the reevaluation of the marine fuel tax distribution. This was a distribution formula that was set up 55 years ago, and been that long since it was updated. Pursuant to a minute order last year that we agreed on, we had members of RDOT and Arkansas Game and Fish Commission meet and collectively come together with appropriate data to utilize in reevaluating that formula. It has been done. I think it's it is going to be a win-win for both agencies, since we both serve the public and getting from point A to point B, and when point B is a boat ramp, we want them to get there on a good road and have a good boat ramp. So this will definitely inure to the benefit of all concerned. That being said, we do have a special guest here. We have Chris Racy, my friend. Where are you, Chris? With Game and Fish. Chris is, I saw you had Chief of Staff on your, I knew him as a Deputy Director. I guess Chief of Staff is, that's on your tag there, but he's been there a long time, does a great job at Game and Fish, and a wonderful friend over in that agency. So thank you for being here, Chris, and thank you on behalf of our agency for the cooperation that we all enjoyed in reevaluating the formula. Okay, being said, let's see, it's time. Next item on the agenda is our state highway revenue update. I'll recognize Mr. Patrick Patton, our CFO, to come give us that information. Patrick, it's yours.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everybody. We'll start out with the budgeted revenue, or actual year-over-year actual revenue. If you look at the chart, we're $9.1 million ahead on motor fuel, 1.9 on registration. Overall, for our traditional sources, which is normally our motor fuel, registration fees, permits, and other, we're up 5.7%, or $11.7 million. For the total being above by 12.4%, or $26 million above last year. The next slide looks at the budgeted versus actual revenue. Once again, we're ahead on every category. Right now, we're at 10.4%, or 22.1 above budget for this year. And as you could see on the last slide, we are now starting to get some of our interest. We've collected over the the limit for our RETA program and our grants program, and now we'll start seeing interest show up on that slide. The next slide is the budgeted revenue for Act 416, or the actual, excuse me, year over year. If you look at motor fuel, it's 30.1 million. Over last year's at 28.6. Overall, 1.8 million, or 6.1% above where we were last year. The next slide looks at your budgeted versus actual. We are 1.2 or 4% over our budget versus actual for Act 416, which once again contains 30.1 million in motor fuel and 1.4 million in registration fees. The casino tax is still zero. That'll hit the last day of the state fiscal year of $35 million. If we look at our fuel consumption, for December year over year, we are up 41.9 million gallons, or 5.6%. For gas, diesel's up 22.6 million gallons, or 6.5%, and overall 64.5 million gallons, or 5.9%. For the rolling average, oh, yes, sir.
I just wanted to ask you on the electric and hybrid fees, how does that translate into number of vehicles? Do you have any idea?
Off the top of my head, I think we've got about 17,000 registered.
In the state, yeah. Okay. Thank you.
If you look at fuel consumption with the 12-month rolling 12-month comparison, overall we're 7% higher. 6.1% of that's gas, 8.9% is diesel. It equates to 147 million gallons, or 7% above for the total. Next, we move into our half-cent sales tax. What you see on the screen is through December. I received January's numbers yesterday, so for January we're 1.2 million above DFNA's projections. So if you roll that through, we're at about 4.8 million with January's numbers for the year above DFNA's projections. The next slide will show half-cent projections versus actual for the since the inception of the program, and if you include January's numbers in there, it's 29.2 million above DFNA's projections for the since the inception of the program. Any questions? Thank you.
Good report. Always like to get good news from the CFO. Laurie, we're up to the next item, which on my notes says it's time to turn it over to you. So I'm going to shut my microphone off and let you take it from here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Next, we have Kevin Thornton, our Assistant Chief of Administration, to give you an update on federal highway and transit issues.
Thank you, Director Tudor. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, as a reminder, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or IIJA, which is also known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, or BIL, was enacted on November the 15th, 2021. Since that time, we have and continue to receive information regarding many different programs and categories of the IIJA. An important part of the process of implementing a new infrastructure bill is developing the guidance of how the funding can be used. As part of this developing the guidance, the Federal Highway Administration is requesting and receiving comments from states and other stakeholders regarding how the guidance should be written. We have submitted our comments to the FHWA regarding the development of guidance for electric vehicle charging infrastructure deployment, and we are developing our comments regarding the overall implementation of the IIJA. We still have not received information on all of the programs and categories, but we are watching for these on a daily basis. We're also looking for the additional requests for information on a daily basis as well. Another IIJA program we have received guidance and apportionment for is the Bridge Formula Program. Arkansas will receive a total of approximately $278 million over the 5-year life of the IIJA. We received authority to obligate $55.8 million from this program in federal fiscal year 2022. The remaining portion of the $278 million will be distributed over the last 4 years of the life of the IIJA. One other important note to mention is that we are still operating under a continuing resolution, or CR, for a majority of the IIJA. This CR that we're currently operating under will expire on February the 18th. Congress will need to pass a full year's appropriation or a spending bill for the IIJA before we can take full advantage of all it has to offer for Arkansas. While Congress could pass a full year's appropriation or a spending bill before February the 18th, there is not much time left for them to reach an agreement. This is why we are expecting another CR that will extend our funding until possibly late March or early April. Hopefully, this will provide enough time for Congress to reach an agreement for the rest of the federal year. Of course, we will keep you informed on future developments, and we are looking forward to receiving the full benefits of this infrastructure bill. Director Tudor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Kevin. Are there any questions? No. In order to coordinate Arkansas's efforts in implementing the infrastructure bill, or the IIJA, Governor Hutchinson issued an executive order in late December that created the Governor's Infrastructure Planning Advisory Committee, or IPAC. I'm a part of that committee. We had our kickoff meeting last week. You know, the IIJA is not just about roads and bridges. It also has a lot of other things involved in it that the state needs to take advantage of. And so by bringing us all together, we can become strategic in the way we go after these funds that are available for the states. And that's the whole point of this committee. Included on the committee are 18 different agencies: Finance and Administration, Commerce, Transformation and Shared Services, Agriculture, Game and Fish, and the list goes on. So we're all coming together. We're going to be talking about how to strategically go after the funds that are available. Our next meeting will be held in late February, and I'll keep you posted as that rolls out. Next, I've asked Crystal Woods to come up and give you an update on COVID-19. But I'd like to paraphrase a quote the governor made in one of his press conferences last week. He said, "We hope to stop treating this as an emergency and realize this is a part of our lives now. We need to learn to live with it and move forward." And I think that's where we're at here at the department. And hopefully that we have gotten through the worst of this, and we're seeing bright, clear skies ahead. So, Crystal.
Thank you, Director. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. This graph shows a week-to-week comparison of our positive cases since June of 2020. As you can see, the first two surges, which we thought were large, paled in comparison to the Omicron variant that we've been dealing with in the last month. Thankfully, this variant causes significantly milder symptoms for the average person, and we haven't seen any severe cases or deaths as a result of this variant, despite the high numbers. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have had 1,664 RDOT employees who have tested positive. That's about 45% of our workforce. and over 600 of those were infected in the last month. Due to Omicron being so contagious, replicating so quickly, and having a shorter incubation period than its predecessors, there's been a more narrow window to perform contact tracing and prevent workplace infections. Obviously, that's been our primary focus, is to prevent workplace infections. So our positivity rate at work has increased during this last surge, but once again, most of our employees have experienced very mild symptoms that they compare to the common cold or a case of the flu. And we're thankful for that. Another thing we've noticed about this variant is that it does seem to infect vaccinated and boosted people a little bit more than the previous variants. But we've also seen that having a booster shot did seem to help a lot in terms of severity of symptoms. And now for the good news, as Director Tudor mentioned. Our cases have been falling sharply since the week of January 16th. As you can see on the chart, this last Friday was when this slide was developed, and we had about 125 positive cases at that time. As of 9:15 this morning, we're down to 90 positives. So cases continue to decline pretty rapidly every day. As far as we know, there's not another variant known to be spreading across the world. So that's giving us a lot more optimism and hope for stabilization and normalization. Infections may continue, but hopefully these extraordinary measures that we've been taking around the country and around the world will soon be over. That still remains to be seen, but it's what we're counting on here at RDOT. We've already begun preparing a transition plan for a more sustainable approach to living with COVID for the long term. Are there any questions?
All right, thank you,
Okay.
Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to give you an update on our efficiency review recommendation implementation. As you know, the recommendations were adopted by the ALC in November of 2020, and we prepared draft implementation rules, and they were adopted by the ALC in November of 2021. We've gone out for public comment, which ended on January 4th, and there were 2 comments that were that we got from that comment period, and they were both the same. It was concerning the recommendation to implement construction contractor performance measurements, and the way we plan to implement that recommendation is to set up a committee to work through all of the parts of that. And what the request was could somebody from the contracting industry represent them on that committee? And we thought that was an excellent idea. So as you can see on the screen, we revised the rule to include 2 representatives from the highway contracting industry to sit on that committee as we develop this rule to implement this recommendation. And that will just include how we're going to put together the form, what metrics we're going to use to measure contractor performance, how we're going to document that, and how the contractor can appeal those decisions if they wish to. Just things of that nature, just how to implement this recommendation. So I would request a motion authorizing the department to submit this revised rule to the Highway Commission Review and Advisory Committee before their next meeting. And then
So moved.
Okay, Commissioner Taldo moves favorably on the motion. Second. Okay, Commissioner Farmer seconds. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed no. Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Next, I need a motion that will allow us to enter into negotiations with some firms for on-call noise services. By Minute Order 2015-17, we had the authority to go out for requests for letters of interest. We received 8 of those. From that, we shortlisted 5 and did interviews, and the staff has recommended 2 firms to begin negotiations with Bowlby Associates Incorporated of Nashville, Tennessee, and Burns and McDonald Engineering Company Incorporated of Springdale, Arkansas.
Have a motion to approve. Okay. Mr. Gibson approved. Motion approval. Commissioner Taldo seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
So as our tradition is, we're going to take a look back at 2021 and take a look forward at 2022, and I'll make this brief and quick because we've got a winter storm breathing down our necks, so we want to get everybody home safe and off the roads. Don't stay home for the next few days, is all I'm going to say. Anyway, we had a handful of promotions this year, and all just excellent choices in my opinion. They've done a great job in the short time they've been in their positions. But we have Rex Vines, who's became Deputy Director and Chief Engineer. We have Steve Frisbee, who filled his spot and became Assistant Chief Engineer for Operations. Then we had Brad McCaleb, who filled Steve's spot in Transportation Planning and Policy. And then we had Mark Headley take over Brad's spot in System Information and Research. We have Chief Jeff Holmes that we named Chief of the Arkansas Highway Police. And then we had Derek Wyatt, who took Mark Headley's place in District 6. And then finally, but last but not least, is Drew Hoggart that took Derek's place in District 2. So, you know how it is in state government. There's just like this domino effect, and that's what you're seeing here. I got a really nice compliment from Federal Highway Administration, Vivian Wong. We have lunch together every month, and she was complimenting the department on our selection of folks and moving folks around, giving them additional experience in different areas of the department. And that was music to my ears. They thought a lot of good decisions had been made, and I know it's going really well. So appreciate all these folks for stepping up. Well, February last year brought us a very big challenge, and that was a record-breaking snowstorm. And it was over about 10 days, if you can, I'm sure everybody remembers it. The entire state was impacted, and some places in the state saw up to 2 feet in snow. The workers out there did a phenomenal job, but aside from the snow, one of the things they endured was bitter cold temperatures during those 10 days. They fell into the single digits. Some places had never seen such low temperatures. But in spite of all that, our crews did an excellent job, and their supports and the support staff as well. Everyone agrees that we were successful in that snow and ice event. And all 10 districts were communicating, and Parker and his team did a great job of getting the information out to the press. And there was a lot of hard work by a lot of people during that event. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about the event that's coming up. This is completely different because it's an ice storm. And ice is different than snow. And there's a lot of rain that's coming prior to the ice, and that means it's very difficult to pre-treat the roads. And we're going to do our very best, but we need everybody that's listening today to help us by just staying off the road during this event. It's very dangerous. It's very treacherous. There'll be places where what we call black ice, where it's not easily determined whether it's ice or water. And so and Rex updated me just a few minutes ago. We thought it would be over by Friday morning, but it may refreeze on Friday night, and we may have some more ice on the weekend. But I just implore everybody that if you don't have to get out on the roads, stay home. Of course, we can't talk about 2021 without talking about the I-40 Hernando DeSoto Bridge that was closed on May 11th. It was closed to both barge traffic and vehicular traffic. And within short order, we had a team, an engineering team formed, and a contractor on board, Kiewit Corporation. We were able to open up to barge traffic with just a few days on May 14th. This slide just shows you the location of the fracture that was discovered and why the bridge was closed. On May 25th, Kiewit, who was the contractor, completed phase 1 of the repairs, which stabilized that fractured beam so that work equipment could get on the bridge. Then on July 6th, pardon me, let's see. Well, I'm not sure when we finished phase 1. It's not in my notes. Do you know? Anyway, within a few weeks, we finished phase 1. We began phase 2, which was to repair the fracture, and that was completed on July 6th. During the repair of the fracture, while the bridge was closed, we had our consultant go and inspect 500 weld connections to see if there were any invisible anomalies in those welds that needed to be reinforced, and we found 16 welds that needed that reinforcement. So on completion of phase 2, which was July 6th, we began phase 3, which was to reinforce those 16 weld locations. On July 31st, the eastbound lanes were reopened, and on August 2nd, the westbound lanes were reopened. So in about 12 weeks' time, based on a very consolidated effort by many people, by our engineers, our DOTs, Tennessee DOT, Arkansas DOT, FHWA, our contractor, all working together, we were able to get that bridge back open and open to traffic in about 12 weeks. We have made some significant changes to our bridge inspection program, and we're continuing to make progress. One of the biggest parts of our progress moving forward is our partnership with Federal Highway Administration, who is a great resource to us and very invaluable to us as we move forward. And we're continuing to implement new technologies and new processes to make our bridge inspection program second to none in the nation. If you'll remember this cartoon, there was a lot of discussion about an infrastructure bill or infrastructure funding, and then the bridge was closed. And so it really fueled that discussion. And this cartoon came out in the Democrat Gazette. And Secretary Pete Buttigieg came and visited the bridge, and Chairman Moore was able to go and greet him and tour the bridge with him on June 3rd. And he emphasized at that time that Congress needed to act. We needed a strong, robust infrastructure law to be put into place. And that indeed happened in November. On November 15th, 2021, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act was signed into law. And it's a $1.2 trillion piece of legislation that covers a lot of different areas. For roads and bridges, about $110 billion is dedicated. But as I was talking about earlier with the governor's infrastructure group that I'm a part of, there's many more things that are available on that bill that we need to take advantage of. FHWA is providing guidance to us as we speak, and we'll be implementing all of the new funding as soon as possible. For Arkansas, we're looking at about $200 million more a year than our traditional amount of funding available. Of that $200 million, we're estimating about $170 is discretionary or can be used wherever it's not suballocated to another group. It can be used by the department. We also last...
Director, could I interrupt you just a second, please? I'd just like to say at the end of that presentation, on behalf of the Commission and all Arkansans, I think to commend you on your leadership during this very difficult and challenging situation, and to all the staff, and to TDOT and Federal Highway Administration. Everybody came together. This was just an unbelievable challenge that was not without its difficulties going through, but worked through it in an amazingly fast manner, and got the public traveling back on the bridge in a safe manner. And I think certainly gave an additional boost of confidence by the general public in this agency's ability to handle such a challenging situation. So to you and all the staff involved and everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So in fall of 2021, we launched our Keep It Clean Arkansas campaign. And what we're trying to make clear to the folks, we don't really have a trash problem, we have a littering problem. If folks would curb their littering, then we wouldn't have so much trash to pick up. We spend about $5 million a year picking up trash. That's money that could be used on highway improvements. So we want to keep our highways clean and desirable for our visitors. It's just like your house. You want to keep it picked up and nice. We want to keep our state picked up and nice. We want people, our visitors and our residents, to feel pride in Arkansas's roads. And so we'd have about 900 volunteers from our Adopt a Highway program, and we're very grateful for them, but we just don't seem to be able to keep up with the littering problem. So we're going out and doing an educational effort at the State Fair this year. We actually launched this campaign at the State Fair, and as you can see, our booths were set up with some of the backdrops talking about what it means to Arkansas with the litter that we have to deal with. In 2021, we awarded $500 million worth of projects on about 195 projects, about $500 million. One of our big events last year was we celebrated the opening of the Bella Vista bypass with our neighbors from Missouri. That was a great event. We took this was a moment of great pride for all of the commission and the department, and both on the Missouri side and on Arkansas side. The bypass finally completed a link for I-49 between Kansas City and Fort Smith. And so that Bella Vista bypass, that 14-mile segment of road, is now open to traffic, and by all accounts, it's a huge success. It's accomplishing what it was meant to accomplish in that area. And it's just a great project, a great example of collaboration with our neighboring states, with our MPOs, with our citizens, because Issue 1 was part of the reason we were able to fund this project, and the governor who championed Issue 1. I mean, the list goes on, but it was something very, very, a very proud moment for all of us. The Reason Foundation came out with their report in 2021 that lists based on the information they gathered from the previous year, 2020, Arkansas is 17th in the 50 states out of the list of 50 states as far as our pavement condition, traffic congestion, structurally deficient bridges, traffic fatalities, and spending per mile. So 17 out of 50 is a great grade. I'll take that any day. We used to be a lot further down on the list. So I appreciate all the hard work and the commission's support. There's been a huge shift in how we spend funding on more system preservation, which has made all the difference in our ratings when you compare us with other states. So again, a very proud moment. So looking ahead to 2022, a lot of things on the calendar, so put your seatbelt on and hold on. We're fixing to have a wild ride. So first off, I'll tell you, Ellen Coulter came on board, and I should have probably had her picture because she was a lot prettier than all those guys I showed earlier. But she came on board with us just recently, and also Mike Woodall, who we call Woody, 2 new team members to our public information office, and they have brought such great skill set to us. And one of those is Ellen has a strong skill set in social media, and so we have in January we set up a Facebook account, we set up an Instagram account, and they're doing great. We were off on the ground running. We've already got we've picked up hundreds of followers already. Last year we set up a second Twitter account, and we have 52,000 followers. Now that means we're popular, I think. And this is just a great way to push out information digitally to the citizens, and I felt very, very proud that 52,000 people are following us on Twitter, so that's a great deal. Just recently, we had a press conference. We've been working with Arkansas State Police to unveil this Star ASP phone number that you can use on your cell phone if you see something that doesn't quite rise to the level of a 911 call, and you feel like you'd like to report it. This is your way to do it. And Arkansas State Police Colonel Bryant came to me and said, would you be willing to partner with us on this? We'd like to put some signs out. Well, he didn't have to do much convincing, because about a week earlier on an early Saturday morning, I was on my way on I-40 towards Memphis, and I saw a grass fire next to the shoulder of the road, and I thought, I should call somebody. Who should I call? And I finally figured out I called somebody, and they called somebody, and they called somebody, and they got it taken care of. But if I'd have known about Star ASP, I wouldn't have had any worry about who to call. I just dialed that in and said, I would have pulled to the side of the road, dialed it in, and made that report. But anyway, I appreciate it. We're going to be putting out 200 signs to start off with. We're doing it at the state lines, at the major freeway interchanges, and at 50-mile increments along our freeways here, high-traveled roads here in Arkansas. So stay tuned to that. We started installation this week. We have $1 billion worth of work scheduled in 2022. So it's going to be a lot of work going on in our state in 2022. And one of the biggest projects I want to mention is a project that's part of our Connecting Arkansas program #1. That first Connecting Arkansas program that was approved back in 2012. The last project will be let to contract this year, in fall of this year, if everything goes as planned. And that will mean that we have every Connecting Arkansas program projects, those 31 projects that we promised voters, either under construction or completed. So we will have filled our promises, and we're going to have a huge celebration to mark the fulfillment of the Connecting Arkansas program, and we're going to be 6 months to 8 months ahead of schedule. So extremely proud moment, and we're going to make that count. We're going to really take advantage of that and have a great celebration. So more to come on that.
Director Tudor, does that mean we're going to be able to start CAP 2 6 months earlier? Projects? Is that the way that works? I'm just asking for a friend.
I think that we can. I might know somebody to talk to. I don't know. This just gives you an idea of what that last project will be. It's on Highway 67 between Jacksonville and Cabot. We'll be finishing that widening and doing some interchange modifications. Another big project that's going on, it's a great project, is the extension of the Hot Springs Bypass. This is a partnering project. It's around the $80 million mark, but $30 million was provided by Garland County. The project is well underway. It provides that connection between the existing east-west arterial or Hot Springs bypass up to the Hot Springs Village area between Highway 5 and 7. It's going to take a huge amount of pressure off of Bathhouse Row in downtown Hot Springs. Just a great project in a beautiful road. If you've had the opportunity to go out there and tour it as it's being constructed, it's really something to see. A beautiful, beautiful road. And so that should be finished this year. Again, another big celebration, another big ribbon cutting. The I-30 crossing won't be completed this year, but one thing that will be completed is the bridge. The eastbound I-30 bridge. Will be putting traffic on that this, let's see, what was that? Later this year is all it says. So I don't know if you've been noticing the progress being made on I-30 crossing and on the river bridge, but it's been phenomenal. They started construction in September of 2020. And it's just, we're here in the middle of, within 2 years, or less than 2 years, they're going to have that part of the bridge open, that major river crossing. So the contractor out there is doing a phenomenal job, and we're going to be celebrating that project in increments because it is such a major, major project. And last but not least, we're planning for a groundbreaking on Interstate 49 this fall. Another big celebration. It's showing our It's a small project, just a clearing and grubbing type work, but what it's going to signify and what it's going to show is our commitment of moving forward with I-49 and expanding that footprint between Alma and Barling and beyond. So, early in 2021, I sat down with Good Roads, me and Randy did, and we sat down with Joe Quinn and Good Roads, and we just come off of the great victory with Issue 1, with the voters passing Issue 1 by a nice margin to move us forward in our highway construction program. And we learned so much during that period of time. We learned how collaboration and coming together and working together can accomplish so much. And we just wanted to build on that momentum. So Joe Quinn and me and Randy and I sat down on what's next. What can we do next? What do we want to push out and make really put a focus on in the upcoming years to make a difference? We want to make a difference, and what's the biggest difference we can make? And one of the big things that came out of that meeting was work zone safety. We knew that we wanted to do all we could to make our work zones safer. We always do a work zone safety week each and every year. That's just part of that's set aside every year, but we wanted to do a whole lot more. And just this morning, I was looking through my emails, and there's a huge concern for the number of traffic fatalities that have been constantly going up over the last several years. And this morning, based on the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, in 2021, the first 9 months of 2021 saw 31,720 deaths on our nation's highways. That's a 12% increase from the same period of time in 2020, and it's the highest since 2006. But it's the highest percentage increase since the inception of recording data on highway fatalities. So there is an alarming trend of fatalities on our roads and injuries on our roads. And I will say that equates over into our work zones. What we're seeing on regular highways, we're seeing in our work zones as well. And it's even more scary in our work zones because of the limitations and of the vulnerability of our workers in the work zones, as well as our friends and family that are driving through the work zones trying to get home safe. And so today we wanted to roll out a new campaign, and I'm going to turn it over to Parker, who has been working on this with his team, and he's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Director. As the Director discussed just now, the concern over construction, work zone construction safety and the amount of accidents has been something that we've been talking about for quite a while now. As she mentioned, we do have a time set aside every year in April to discuss this. We partner and join in with the national effort, but we started to have the discussions. We looked at some of the numbers and just felt like heading into this year really needed to be a priority for us. The data supports it, unfortunately, that since 2018, the amount of work zone accidents from 2018 to 2021 has risen by roughly 70%. And of course, one fatality is too many. And let me say that also, this is not just a concern for the worker out there. It's for the driving public. You know, we want everyone to be safe in these zones. So this is an effort aimed at the driving public as well as all of the workers out there. From the talks this summer, this fall, the director came to me, I believe it was in October, and said, Parker, let's get moving on this. So we got moving on this. I sat down with Ellen Coulter, our brand new, recently hired media communications manager at the time, and we started discussing what could we do. We knew the importance of it, and we started to form a plan. And it was Ellen who actually came up with the name Slow Down, Phone Down, and we are here today to officially unveil the campaign. Ellen?
So, yeah, as Dave said, this Slow Down, Phone Down campaign launches today. After this commission meeting, we're going to be sending out a press release and a video and a web page and the whole thing. So, and we've already gotten some media coverage on it, so we're pretty excited about that. And this is really a unified effort. We're really grateful for the partnership between Arkansas State Police and Highway Police and then all the other industry stakeholders who have put their stamp of approval behind this campaign. It really underscores the importance of this effort and the need for it in Arkansas. So, so how does this work? Number one, there's going to be an increased law enforcement presence in work zones across the state. And we want people to know that. We do not want this to be a gotcha campaign. The goal of the campaign is not to write as many citations as possible. We want people to know there's going to be an increased law enforcement presence, and just don't speed, don't be on your phone, just follow the rules so that you won't get a ticket in the first place. So that is number one, this increased law enforcement presence by both state police and highway police. And then number two is the education and awareness around the campaign. We want to teach people what are the rules of the road, what is illegal, what is legal. And so we're going to be going into schools and events and giving presentations, posting to social media, really educating people on what you should and should not be doing within a work zone to keep yourself and others safe. So that's a little bit about how the campaign works. And then I know a lot of you might be wondering how we're possibly going to measure this campaign, because education and awareness are pretty abstract and they're kind of hard to measure. But the first way that we're going to be measuring this is looking at our social media and paid media impressions and kind of seeing how much this is resonating with the general public. But then the second main way that we really hope to measure this is hopefully this time next year, when we're looking at our 2022 year in review, we can see a change in the data. We can see a decrease in the numbers. Even if they just decrease slightly, even if we save one life, that will have been worth it. And then hopefully, you know, we can keep this campaign going and continue to decrease those numbers. So with that, we're going to show a video that Matt has created that is a little bit of an intro to this campaign.
Work zone safety is everyone's job. We all want good roads. Our workers and those driving through work zones deserve to make it home safely. It's a team effort. In 2022, Arkansas State Police and Arkansas Highway Police will be joining forces to combat the rapidly increasing number of work zone accidents and deaths in Arkansas. Law enforcement will be out in work zones statewide, monitoring reckless and distracted driving to keep you and our workers safe. All you have to do is slow down and put your phone down in work zones. Please help to improve the safety in our work zones as we work to improve our roads. Slow down, phone down. This message is brought to you by the Arkansas Highway Safety Office, Arkansas Department of Transportation, Arkansas Good Roads, and Arkansas's highway construction industry.
Let me just close real quick by emphasizing that this is a team effort. This is not RDOT. This is state highway, highway police, the state police, all the other organizations, Arkansas Good Roads, the highway construction industry. We couldn't do any of this without their support and their efforts. So we are ready to move on this, and it's officially launched. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave and Ellen, and all the PI team, Public Information team. You've done a phenomenal job, and I appreciate your hard work. And I just want to echo a little bit. I want to thank our partners for their support and leadership in making a success. My good friend Colonel Bill Bryant, he's such a great partner to us, and I appreciate you being here today. He has imparted a lot of wisdom to me since I became director almost 2 years ago. Chief Jeff Holmes, he's new on the job, but he's an old hand at it, and he's doing a great job. Joe Quinn, I see Joe back there. I appreciate Joe, his support, and Good Roads is just such a great support to RDOT. And the commission, Joey Dean from Arkansas General Contractors, where are you? Oh, thank you for your support. Park Estes, Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association. I know I'm probably forgetting someone. If I am, I apologize, but I appreciate all of you. And I think Park had asked to say a few words to the commission. Park, would you like to come up and speak?
I'll be brief. But y'all stole a little bit of, do I need to do anything to this? Stole a little bit of thunder on the some of the figures, but it does put it in perspective. But I did want to take you, and I appreciate the opportunity to thank Director Tudor, the Highway Commission, and all the RDOT family for reaching out to the industry stakeholders to partner together to increase the awareness of work zone safety. I've got friends, I've got family that work out there on the road, and we love every one of them. We want them to come home safe every day. So on behalf of myself and the AAPA members, just want to publicly state that we are 100% committed to this collaborative effort. And even though there's been so much done, there's just so much more to do. We can never do enough. And you look at things that kind of put it in perspective. It's 11 o'clock now, so since 7 o'clock this morning, there's been 16 accidents in a work zone somewhere in the United States. And that kind of helps start bringing it home. Let's turn this room into a work zone. Rex, Randy, you're sitting right here. The only thing that separates you from somebody driving a car about this far away is a barrel. So how would you like a car coming through here at 70 miles an hour looking at phones with a barrel between you? If there's so you start to think about those things, and it just it really puts it in perspective. So we're proud to partner with you. The collaboration that we had to help pass issue 1 was successful, and I think all of us working together and being focused on this, we can have the same kind of success with I was going to say decrease, but I want to say eliminate accidents and fatalities in the work zones. There's just so much at stake. So we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Park. And Joey or Joe, if you'd like to say anything.
I think our message is pretty simple to Joe and Park, bigger members. We're going to do whatever it takes. I was very moved that you really brought it home. At Park's annual meeting, we talked about going to participation for deceased employee. That's putting a human face on it. I think the abstract, when we talk about numbers and statistics, that's one thing, but we remind the state that these are hardworking people. The other thing
Thank you.
I'll just echo what Mark and Bill said. Work-zone safety has been something that our organization has been supportive of and pushing for a long, long time. And it's not just the highway contractors, it's the RDOT authorities, it's the state police, it's the public that's traveling through it as well. So it impacts everyone, and I just applaud you. We appreciate you reaching out to us, and we couldn't be more supportive.
Thank you, Joey. All right, I'll stop there for any questions from the commission or comments.
I'd just like to add it's an outstanding program. I love the direction, the energy, very timely, unfortunately, with the recent deaths, and I hope we get the message out there loud and clear, so our workers and anybody traveling through these zones will feel safer, because we've all, I won't say we've all been guilty, but we've all seen guilty people out there for sure. So I hope they get the message, and great job in putting the program together. Thank each of you for your support here. Carl, appreciate your support.
Okay, so upcoming events. The legislator orientation and the Joint House and Senate Transportation Committee, we're still waiting to hear whether that's going to occur or not. So I'll keep you posted on that, but kind of pencil those days in if you would. We have a bid letting on February 16th. I will be attending a Little Rock Road Show in Little Rock, well, obviously, on February 17th, and actually the governor is going to be speaking at that as well, so no pressure, right? On February 18th, Vice Chairman Farmer and I are going to attend a Region Smart Tri-State Compact Initiative, and basically what that is Mississippi, Tennessee, and Arkansas. Some of the mayors and some of the leaders in those areas are going to get together and talk about how maybe forming a group could help them progress some of their initiatives in the area. We have a partnering workshop with Arkansas Asphalt Pavement Association at the end of February 22nd through 23rd. We're going to go up to Rogers, and we've got some folks coming from Kansas City to talk about their efforts in improving contractor and DOT relationships and getting the jobs done better, more efficiently. And so we're looking forward to that opportunity. Several of the staff and I will be going to that. On February 24th and 25th, I'll be going to Jackson, Mississippi for a SASHTO board retreat, Board of Directors retreat. March 1st through the 4th is the AASHTO Washington briefing. We'll be sending out more information on that soon. And then finally, March 10th, the Arkansas Good Roads Foundation meeting. Chairman Moore is part of that board, and he'll be attending that meeting. And I usually attend just to see what's going on. So, I didn't ask any questions.
When is that Rogers event?
The Rogers event is February 22nd through 23rd.
Thank you.
Okay, so other business. We are proud to announce that we have received a Asphalt Pavement Award from the Asphalt Pavement Alliance, and it's for a segment of Highway 1 in Craighead County, and it met all the criteria to be considered a perpetual pavement. So this makes our 11th award, and I wish I had it here. It's a beautiful, it's already in the trophy case, and it's a beautiful trophy, and it's our 11th one in 12 years, so very proud of our asphalt, our perpetual pavement here in the state. And we have gotten one every year since 2012, so good job to our contractors, to the staff, and who all's involved with overlaying and resurfacing our roads. And last but not least, our very own Chairman Moore has been nominated for a special feature called 50 over 50. And it's an honor presented by Arkansas Money and Politics magazine. And Chairman Moore is very deserving of this honor because of his dedicated public service all these years to Arkansas. So congratulations, Chairman Moore, on this great honor. And then if you haven't seen the latest edition of the Arkansas Highways magazine, Chairman Moore is the feature article, and it's a great article, and it just shows you the many layers and talents of this amazing man. So thank you, Chairman Moore, for all you do for Arkansas and for the Arkansas Department of Transportation.
Thank you very much. I've been deeply honored, continue to be deeply honored. I'm still trying to figure out how they figured that I was over 50, though. I mean, that's I'm glad they didn't have a cap on it. Thank you.
So with that, Mr. Chairman, I conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Director, and thank you for each of you that participated here today. Members of the Commission, any comments? Alec? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. First, I wanted to recognize Mayor Harold Copenhaver from Jonesboro. Welcome. He's just completed his first year in office and doing a great job for the city of Jonesboro up there, and look forward to working with you in the future and maybe find a partnering job or two somewhere down the road. But he's also part of the Tri-State Compact. He's one of 4 mayors in Arkansas. Is that correct? That are part of the Tri-State Compact. So looking forward to working with you on that also. One other thing, well, 2 other things. One, the Reason Foundation report, we talked about being ranked 17th, and I've been starting my 8th year on the commission, and we've gone from, that's an annual report, we've gone from being in the 30s to the 20s to now the 17th, which is a testament to the investment we made in our highway system the last several years. But I also just want to point out that even when we were 34th or 35th, we were always in the top 10 in administrative cost efficiency, which, you know, we put the money back in the roads. Even when we had very little money, we put the money back in the roads, and I just wanted to point that out and appreciate your leadership. And just to wrap it up, I just want to say congratulations to you and everyone at RDOT for successfully navigating a very challenging 2021, from ice storms to bridge closures and everything in between, and just looking forward to what we can accomplish in 2022. So thank you.
Any other comments, commissioners? Hearing none, thank you again, Director, and all the staff, all of you who are here today. Hope you have a safe and speedy trip away from here before the weather gets us all. Thank you very much. That'll conclude our meeting.